I'm back with the 119 rebuild. I'm just going to wire this one up. I've got the machine here ready. What I've done, I've taken this piece of sleeving off, because if you remember, when I showed you this initially, it didn't have any sleeving. Somebody put great big thick cable on, or they hadn't put it on properly anyway. So I'm going to show you which way it goes on. So what you have to do, the cable goes around there like that, but it goes underneath there, not on top of it like the other person had. I'll just take that clip off, because there's two little clips here. These little clips hold it in place, you see. There's a little clip. There's two of those. They didn't use those at all. So what happens is that goes underneath there and up through there. When I've got this on, I will put the wire on so you can see, hold it in place. So basically it just rolls around there like that and fits in there under the clamp. And this bit comes up the handle and through that clamp there, if you can see what I mean. So what you got to do is put the little clip on there and a little clip on there and then put it through there. But before I do that, I'm going to strip the cable off and fit it on, and I'll just show you how I do the ends. Now, first thing to do is strip the outer casing off. I'm probably teaching people to suck eggs by showing you this, but I will show it because some people like to know. These are handy things. Little cable stripper. I've had these for years and years and years. We used to sell them in our shop, and all you do, you just pop the cable through like that, and then you turn it in that direction, and it just cuts a little bit into the insulation, and it looks the same. But when you bend it over a lot, you can bend it and snap it like so. It's a bit blunt now, and that just pulls off then like that, revealing the cables underneath. Now I've got 3 wire on here because I'm going to earth it on this screw here, which isn't long enough, by the way, because somebody's bodged it, so I'm going to put a longer screw in probably. Right, I'm just going to show you how to wire it up with a cable. This may be very basic stuff, but some people might be interested, so if you don't want to see this, but you can fast forward. One way of doing it is to strip the outer casing off like this with a tool or some sort. You can use snips or that. Twist it together, give it a good twist like that. This is a perfectly acceptable way of doing it, by the way. You don't have to have fittings on the end. Get yourself a little screwdriver about that size and wrap it round. I mean, it's difficult to explain, it's easy to do, and just give the screwdriver a twist like that. And what you've done is made a simple little eyelet in the cable which the screw will fit through. Now, some people might think that's a bodge, but it's a perfectly acceptable way of doing it, and it makes a good connection. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It won't come undone. It's important to turn it into a loop like I've done it and sort of twist it, because if you just try putting the cable around the screw and then tighten the screw up, it'll undo all the cable and unravel. If it's tied like that into a nice little neat knot, it'll stay on there and that'll do a good job. It's quite nice doing something that's old technology, isn't it, rather than all this electronic stuff. Today all the vacuum cleaners have got electronic circuits and computers and flashing lights, and there's hardly anything you can do to them, because if it goes wrong you have to have a new unit. The cost of the unit is so prohibitive, people just scrap it and buy a new one. That's the way it goes today. They're not interested in servicing them and maintaining them, and they deliberately make them so you can't do that, I reckon. I fitted the cable on now. I didn't bother filming myself doing it because I don't think you'd be interested in that. I'll just show you how it's wired up, just in case anybody's not sure about it. I've put my piece of wire on the back to hold this level so you can see it better. As you can see, I've put the earth wire on here, I've put a longer bolt in, and I've put a little brass BA nut on the end to earth it. They're not all earth, to be fair. A lot of these machines didn't have an earth on, but I put an earth on because I had some 3/4 flex anyway, and I think it's safer, so all this is now earthed. As you can see, the handle is insulated with a rubber fitting on the end of the handle, which insulates that from the rest of the machine. Anyway, the live wire goes underneath the switch wire here, and the neutral wire goes to the other field coil wire here. That's all you need to know, really. When you're putting them on, put the ones with the eyelets on the top, because it stops it unswiveling. So basically that's it. All I've got to do now is put these little clips onto this is the little clip. You have to put this around the cable. If you remember when I showed you originally, they hadn't done this. They just put it round the wrong way. These little clips go to hold the cable neatly. So what you got to do, they're a bit fiddly, but you just put it round like that, and there's a little indentation on the handle where it fits. Just bring it round underneath and then get a little screwdriver like this and just simply hook it over the top. And having said that, it's probably going to be a job to do. See, it just fits on there. They are a bit fiddly at times, but there you go, that's that one. And there's one goes on the top here. As you can see, there's a little indentation here to indicate where it clips on. Where is it? Then you just put the other one on the same. Just put it on there like that. Doesn't matter which way around. Then like that. And then just hook it over with your screwdriver, and that's that. So that's that done. Now I've got to put the cable through this little support here, so I'll undo that big bolt there. This holds the handle on, and also it routes the cable through. Pop that cable into the support, and it fits a lot easier than the one they had in there. And if you notice on the handle, there's a little handle locator on the bottom that holds the handle in place as well as it being clamped in. So that goes in there, the bolt goes through that way. Tighten up, hold the handle in place, make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want a handle that's swiveling about, it's really annoying to the operator. So that's that done. I'm going to leave the bottom cover off for the moment so we can check the commutation and make sure it's running nicely, because we'll soon be ready for testing, folks. We've got to put the cable up through this grommet here. I'll just cut that ragged end of that cable off because it's a bit... By the way, this special tool is good for chopping cables off as well. If you want a nice neat end, if you poke it through the one with the red mark on like this lot, and then just go like that, see, it chops the end off really nice and neatly. Very useful tool. Pop that through there. You see that black cable, it doesn't actually look so bad. It'll hardly show that black cable. It's less obtrusive than that light brown, I think. Just tighten the clip up on the handle. So that's that done. Now we'll just wrap some cable around the clips to see where to put the plug on. You always want to make sure when you think about it when you're doing this, don't put it so the plug's hanging at the bottom. Do it so the plug's over the top here. And always when you're putting a replacement cable on, make it a little bit longer. The customer will prefer that because they're always a bit too short, aren't they? So, you know, this one, you see, now there, that's going to end there, isn't it, you see? And the plug will keep hanging down. You really want the plug up here so that it's on the top more really, not round that bottom thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to chop it off about that position and put the plug on there. Now you don't want me to show you putting the plug on, because if you want to know how to put a plug on, watch another of my videos, because actually, believe it or not, I've done a video on putting a plug on, because strangely there are people who don't actually know how to put a 13 amp plug top on, because I suppose everything comes with plugs nowadays. It's very odd. So I'm going to put the plug top on, and when it's on I'll come back and we'll plug the machine in and see if it actually works. Okie dokie, the cleaner's all wired up, and I've also wired the plug up. There's my 13 amp plug. If you look at it, the first thing some people might say is, oh look, that old boy's got the wrong fuse in, he's got a 13 amp and it's only a vacuum cleaner, it doesn't need it. Well, actually it does need it, because the starting current of a motor is much greater than the running current, and it will sometimes blow a correctly rated fuse, so it's always best to put a 13 amp in. If you get a serious problem, it will blow that just as quick anyway. It's microseconds. You'll notice the earth wire is much longer. That's done deliberately. The principle is that if the cable gets pulled, the first wire that comes out is either the live or the neutral, so the appliance stops running and somebody will take the plug off and investigate. But if it's an earthed appliance, and it's an appliance that actually needs an earth, it's not so important on this one, but some appliances for safety do need an earth, and you have the earth tight and somebody yanks on the cable at some point or another and the earth wire pulls out, the machine will still run perfectly alright without an earth, but it's not safe, because if a fault develops and it goes down to earth, then you could get an electric shock, the case will become live. So always leave the earth wire longer than the other, so it's the last to pull out. It's quite important, that. Interestingly enough, the only thing on this cleaner that's got Phillips type or crosshead screws or POS drive screws, whatever you want to call them, is the plug top. It's quite refreshing to find an old machine like this. They only ever use slotted screws on it, no Phillips screws, which is quite nice actually. Right, so I've got the plug on, I haven't got the bag on. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to plug it in, making sure I don't touch anything because it's now live, and I'm going to switch the beast on and see what happens. Are you ready for this, folks? This is the moment of truth, hours of work. Turn the switch. Yay, look at that. Beautiful. Smooth as a nut. Nothing wrong with that, and I don't know whether the camera will see down in there, but the commutation is minimal. absolutely perfect. That's a lovely little machine. I'll just put the bottom cover plate on. Where the screws disappear to? I had them here yesterday and they've just gone. Listen to this. Those aren't so bad because they're greasy. We're always told when we're servicing Hoover, there are 3 important things. Never mind anything else, the most important things. 1, fit new brushes if they're worn down. 2, fit a new belt because it makes it quieter and it works better. And 3, most important, always oil the wheels. Because you could spend 3 hours stripping it right down, cleaning it all out, lubricating the motor bearings, doing a wonderful job on it. Forget to oil the wheels. First time the customer push it across the floor, it squeaks like mad and they think, oh my god, that wasn't worth doing, was it? Wasted your money. So always oil the wheels. You'll see the difference when I've tried it. Let's get me a little oil can. Don't put too much on, else it get on the customer's carpet and they won't be happy, will they? Just put a little bit of oil on like that. You look at the difference. There's the unoiled and oiled. See? Silent. See the difference? One more little job. There's always one more job, isn't there? Is the handle grip. Put the handle grip on. And I happen to have a genuine Hoover. There you are, look, it's got Hoover stamped on it, the Hoover trademark. It's a genuine Hoover hand grip. It just fits on there and makes all the difference. Now don't just fit it on like that. I'm just going to fit it on for now to show you because I can do it. When you put that handle grip on like that, you'll think, oh that's lovely and tight. That's fine, I'll leave it. Don't do that because that'll get loose. And customers always pick the machines up by the handle grip. They're not supposed to. You're supposed to get hold of it under here, look. This is the handle under here. But they always grab it here and manhandle it. Well, you can imagine if the lady picks up, or a gentleman I suppose, not just a lady, picks it up with a hand grip and the grip comes off, it'll fall on their feet, won't it? On their toes and could smash their toes. Because it is quite heavy. So make sure you glue the hand grip on. Use some adhesive, Evo stick or something like that. Anything that's very sticky. We'll just pop the bag on. Now, I shall point out, I haven't done this bag. The bag is the original, so I'm going to keep that as it's original. But it's got a few abrasive, shall we say, holes in it then. It's got a few holes in it. Looks like the moths have been at it. So it'll need patching up and it'll need cleaning out. So I'm just going to put it on now so I can try the thing down on the floor. Oh, it also needs a new bag seal. This around here needs replacing and I've got one of those. This is it. So I'm going to have to fit, that has to be glued in, but I'm not doing it at the moment because you haven't got time to wait for that. So obviously I shall give it a bit of a polish up, give it a clean up, put a bit of wax polish on it and make it nice and shiny, but actually it don't look too bad. When this is cleaned up, that'll be shining like new because it's Bakelite, not plastic. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop it down on the floor and we'll give it a go and see what happens. Beautiful. Now what's wrong with that? Lovely and quiet. Lovely quiet motor. Cleans the carpet nicely. What could be better? Lovely little machine. Well, I think you'll agree that's quite successful. That's a nice little machine. Why would you want one of these modern, cheap, made in China plastic heaps of junk that are battery operated? The batteries only last about 2 years if you're lucky and cost £100 to replace, when you can have a lovely little machine like this. And to think that Hoover used to manufacture these in Perivale in London and now they don't make anything here, it's all made, they just buy stuff from China and stick a Hoover badge on it and there you are and people think they're getting Hoover quality. This is quality, this machine's quality. Not the stuff you buy today. It's a lovely little machine. I'm glad I've done that actually. I'll give it a clean up and stick it in against my 612 which I've already shown you. And I think you'll agree it's a nice little machine. Thanks for watching and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Which may be, if we're lucky, fit in the electric bike wheel. The reason you haven't seen that video is because it isn't arrived yet. We're still waiting. It's stuck in a warehouse somewhere and they've lost it apparently, but apparently they've now found it and it's going to take another 2 weeks to deliver it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.